Let's welcome in our morning guest. T.S. Harihar now joins us this morning. S.V. Prasad, Ruchit Jain, as well as Imtiaz Qureshi. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. S.V., let's start with you. What are the picks that you have?
You know that I don't trade, Pankaj, so I stick to what I've been telling for some time, that I continue to like SBI and HPCL at lower levels. As I anticipated, the SBI chairperson has got the 1-year extension, so the whole merger thing will be pushed through, and I mean, she's done a superb job in doing a lot of cleaning up act in SBI. And hopefully we'll see more of this SR Oil Rosneft kind of deal, which will help the banks to clean up the balance sheet. So, and if you have a strong leader at the top, and SBI being the largest bank, it'll help them a lot. And I understand that the Ajay Piramal Group is also looking at, with Bain Capital, looking at acquiring some of these distressed assets. So all in all, that's the reason why I like SBI. Oil space, I think it's generally a good space to be in. And HPCL with all its plans of going downstream and all of the things that the company is doing, given that relatively its valuation norms are slightly perhaps lower. BPCL always commands a bit of a premium. One likes that stock as well.
Right, but both of these are buy on declines, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Ruchit, what are your top picks for the day?
Hi, good morning, Pankaj. Pankaj, my first pick is a buy call in Karur Vysya Bank. Probably you've seen last few trading sessions, especially the mid-cap banking space attracting a lot of volumes. Even in Karur Vysya Bank, some sort of consolidation was there in place for 2 to 3 weeks, and in last 2 trading sessions we have seen breakout of that consolidation with quite higher volumes. So looking at the volumes and the breakout, we believe that the stock would head higher towards 533 to 535 range. Hence, at current levels, one can look to go long in Karur Vysya Bank, keeping a stop loss below 477 for target of 533 in about 1 to 2 weeks time frame. My second pick is a buy call in Bata. Probably, although the stock has corrected since last 3-4 months, but the stock in last couple of weeks, the stock has been consolidating near its support zone seen on the weekly as well as monthly charts. We have some harmonic pattern formation around the recent lows which was formed, and we are expecting an up move in the stock. It would be a pullback rally. I don't have very aggressive targets on the higher side for this stock, but still with the stop loss below 475, one can go long on Bata and expecting target around 520 in 1 to 2 weeks of time frame.
Right, Mr. Harihar, what are your picks?
First, of course, an old favorite, which is in the MFI space, that is Equitas. We continue to like Equitas for its business visibility over the next few quarters. And we are actually calling the stock at about 182 with a target of 220. The second stock is a stock that has corrected quite sharply from its higher levels. It is Ashok Leyland. I think from about 120 it is down to about 82, 83 levels. And while the HCV segment will probably continue to be under pressure and we are not too positive of a rapid growth, we do believe that the current level offers a good price point to enter the stock. We also believe that the Hinduja Foundries merger should actually be accretive to the company over the medium to long term, although there are short-term concerns. So I think that seems to have been priced into the current market price. So we are actually buying Ashok Leyland with the target of about 115, 115, 110 on that. The third and the last stock is TCS, definitely a large cap, or rather the largest cap as far as India is concerned. We like TCS for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think if you look at the last results, they've managed to maintain their operating margins quite impressively at about the 24-25% mark. Secondly, I think if you look at the digital share, there is no company in India which has 16% in digital. And considering TCS's size, I think 16% digital probably poises it best to make the best of what is going to happen in the future tech spending. Globally, tech spending is veering more towards digital, less towards BFSI, telecom, etc. So I think that is where TCS is very delicately poised, and we like the stock with a target of about 2,800 in 1 quarter's time frame.
Right. Imtiaz, what are your picks for the day? You also have Ashok Leyland as a part of your top pick and TCS.
Very good morning, Pankaj. Yes, no doubt I'm giving a buy call on Ashok Leyland and TCS. As of now, what I can understand with the technical chart of Ashok Leyland, we had seen the 2 multiple tops breakout. One is 83, next is 85, and the last session the stock has given the close about 85 rupees. So I think so the Ashok Leyland is going to try to hit its super trend upper side, which is somewhere around 92.50, and I believe that even 92.50 will be called off, and in a short term we can see 101 for the Ashok Leyland. It's a very much outperformance stocks last year, in the current year, and I think so that the retracement has given a very good opportunity for the Ashok Leyland for a buy. I think so 82 would be a very strong support for the Ashok Leyland, and that can be taken as a stop loss, and expecting 101 as a target. My next pick would be TCS. As we know, everybody that IT sector being a very much underperformer, but in the last session, what we have seen in TCS, that it has given an intraday, you can say early chart breakout, and this is a very much positive after a very long, you can say, couple of weeks after that we have seen a breakout on TCS, and this breakout would definitely try to hit somewhere around 2600 or much on a higher side. And supports, lastly, the support was around 2400, and which right now 2400 become a resistance was 2400, and right now resistance has become a support to 2400. So I believe 2350 is a very good crucial support for the TCS, and can maintain that as a stop loss for the target of 2644.
Right. Let's just focus on the tech space for a bit. So TCS becomes one of the buys for Imtiaz as well as TS Harihar. Wipro declared numbers on Friday post-market hours. Numbers were good, but however, if you look at the guidance, it was not particularly that great. Let's first start with the consolidated PAT number. So 2,073 crores versus about 2,058. Broadly in line, a little bit of move here and there. IT services sales, we always look at consolidated PAT as well as IT service EBIT for Wipro. So IT services sales came in at 13,136, again in line, no major surprises. EBIT was good. So EBIT was expected to actually decline, but it was flat on a QOQ basis. That came in as a positive surprise. And with the sales being broadly in line, margins came in at about 17.8. This is the IT services EBIT margins that I'm talking about, which the street was expecting that there could be a decline. So good cost control, good utilization uptick. That's what led to these numbers. However, what was not that great was the guidance bit. So they have done an acquisition, firstly, that clearly surprised the street. That is factored into this guidance of 0 to about 2% growth, what the company has said. It's the constant currency guidance, and the street was looking for a growth of about 1 to 3%. Again, in the 1 to 3% number that I'm talking about, the street had not factored in the big acquisition of the $500 million that essentially Wipro has done. So even if you adjust for that, probably the organic guidance seems to be looking much more lower. Wipro is traded in the pre-open session. It's down about 1.84%, as you can see, 490 rupees for Wipro. SB, any comment on Wipro and the numbers? It will continue to be an underperformer versus the market?
Yeah, I think so. I think Wipro last, couple of years at least, as such, IT sector has had its own challenges, in terms of low growth globally, affecting their business volumes. Wipro, among the lot, has been underperforming as well. So I'm a little cautious on this sector because rupee is also appreciated quite a bit, not perhaps so much against the dollar, but certainly against the pound and the euro. And given that company, the growth not happening in those countries and economies, there's a rationalization of spends. Therefore, I am a bit cautious. While I appreciate what Harihar mentioned in terms of the digital part of the business of TCS. Now, how much of margins that they are able to command now, unlike before, is $1 million question. So, one would tend to be cautious on these stocks. And among the three, I guess TCS would, if at all, be a better bet. Among the three, I mean TCS, Infosys, and Wipro. TCS would be a better bet among these three, one or two at all choose. I would tend to tread with a lot of caution, and if at all one is playing the arbitrage foreign market game, I tend to like the pharma pack because there is a demand, there is an old age growth there in terms of population. Therefore, there's more need for cheaper medicines. So, given all that, even though some of the pharma companies have had FDA challenges, I would still look at some of the pharma companies in terms of playing that game rather than the IT companies.
Ruchit, any view on Wipro?
Well, you have already seen some good correction in last 6 months in the stock, and probably last 3-4 weeks the stock has seen some sort of consolidation. Well, last week we saw the prices giving breakout of this consolidation. Although the larger trend on the weekly charts will not change immediately, but in short term, I think the stock could give a pullback rally at least up to 515, 520 levels. So I'm not, I'm not anticipating the stock would create fresh new lows, which were recently from around 470. Probably just from a short-term trading perspective, if anyone wants to do, then around 480 to 475, I think one can look to create long positions, keeping stop loss below 460, expecting a pullback up to 520. But that will only be a short-term call and not any medium to long-term play.
Right. Another IT company that will be in focus is Mindtree. Of course, it's a mid-cap when you compare it to the likes of Wipro and some of the others that have declared numbers. But the numbers were weak on all fronts. So firstly, sales was expected to be flat. Remember, they had given a profit warning at the start of the quarter. Irrespective of that, the numbers are lower than estimates. So Street had lowered down their numbers, and now the numbers which have come in are even worse. And the worst thing in the numbers was the profitability. 123 crores in Q1 and 94 crores, which is a decline of about 20% Dollar revenue came in at $193 million. That was a decline. And that has led to an EPS cut by most of the players on the street. You can see Macquarie 15% EPS cut, Credit Suisse 6% EPS cut. The new target is about 450. Most of the sell side analysts do have a reduce or a sell rating on this name, but still EPS cuts much worse than largely coming in as a negative surprise. SB Mindtree, it trades at about 14 times, which is almost in line with some of the large cap names, and that's why probably D-rating will be slightly higher.
Yeah, certainly. And the numbers which you just read out, and again, I go back to the same theme of Indian rupee versus other currencies. That theme is certainly going to be detrimental to all the export-based businesses. The bigger players would be able to withstand this a lot better than some of these names. So, and given what you're saying in terms of the rich valuation, that's where the correction is happening, and that's why there is clearly a derating happening in this counter.
Right. Hariyar, what do you make of Mindtree numbers?
No, see, the problem with Mindtree was always that it was a mid-cap company with large-cap valuations, and I think that was the core problem with Mindtree over all these years. Let's face the reality that the business model of Mindtree is nowhere as robust or as immune as probably an Infosys or a TCS is concerned. Mindtree is a lot more exposed to things like cross-currency headwinds, which I don't think a TCS or Infosys has so much of an impact. So I would believe that it needs to get back to a slightly low valuation. Probably I think 11.5-12 would be a more reasonable valuation, and that would definitely mean a negative derating as far as the stock price is concerned.
Right. Kane India was also a company that declared numbers. Of course, it's a large cap name. It's going to be merged with Vedanta. If we just look at the numbers, they were better than estimates on most of the fronts. So sales was down about 9 to 10%, but it doesn't come in as a surprise because YOY prices of crude are on the lower side. Profits have come in at about 778 crores. This is by far one of the best profitability or the highest profitability that the company has displayed in about last 6 quarters. EBITDA came in at 1,040 crores. EBITDA overall was about 10% higher than what the street was estimating. This just gives you an indication that when the numbers were down or when the crude prices were down, they were reporting numbers much worse than expected. Now when crude prices have started to recover, their sensitivity to crude price probably suggests that the EBITDA number is now looking good. This is the pre-open price that we are seeing for Kane India. It's up about 1.2%. Ruchit, any view on Kane India in terms of chart, or if you would want to give a Vedanta view, as both the companies are going to get merged quite soon?
Kane on the charts looks quite positive because we've seen the recent rally which has started from lower levels of 100 rupees is purely an impulsive up move, and whenever the stock gives any impulsive up move, it's clearly defining an uptrend in the stock. On the high side, in short term, I'm expecting a target of around 251, which was the earlier resistance seen in the month of I think January 2015. So I think 251 is quite likely for the stock to go in the short term. Even at current levels, one can look to create long positions, keeping a stop loss below 224 levels.
Right. SV, just a quick view on Kane India.
It has to be a trading call, because with the merger around the corner, so if at all you take a trading call on the stock, and I would like to frankly understand these numbers a little bit more, what exactly are the reasons behind this? Not that I'm questioning the numbers at all, mind you. It's just that one needs to understand this kind of sharp turnaround as to what exactly, what are the drivers that drove this.
Right, just any commodity company like Kane or Vedanta, when they declare numbers, their sensitivity is much higher to any change in the commodity prices, like we've seen in Q2, sorry.
Certainly. I mean, there's no question about it. Especially commodity players like a Vedanta and Kane, unlike some of the other commodity players who are also in downstream. One has to, kind of differentiate between who are a lot more in downstream. There's a difference. So I would tend to, if at all, take a trading call, if at all.
Right, SB. I'll just come back to you, gentlemen. If I just look at the markets, we've got the first prices. ICICI Bank is up 0.7%, 279. Wipro is down about 3% 484.85. So 3% down now for Wipro. Tata Power 83.84. SBI, I think volumes are yet to pick up, but still good volumes so far. Tata Steel about 427, and Bharti Airtel is down 1.6%. Remember, a lot of telecom companies declare numbers this week. Infratel today and Idea tomorrow. Wipro, I think, is the top loser with very good volumes. 1.5 lakh shares, close to 1.5 lakh shares already traded. 482 for Wipro, 16 to about 17 rupees on the lower side. Idea is down 2%. Numbers come out today post market hours, and all eyes are, of course, what is the commentary on Jio launch. This will be, I think, the first time that the management would speak to investors after that. Bharti Airtel is down 1.5%, 42,000 shares traded. Bharti declares numbers tomorrow. Axis declares numbers tomorrow as well, 1% down. 520 for Axis Bank, looking in on the weaker side. Numbers come out this week. ICICI, what a run it has had, 2% higher, 283 for ICICI Bank. Reliance is among the gainers. It's up about 0.7, 0.8. No major move for Reliance Industries, but about 1,072, 1,073 is where this name is particularly trading at. Eicher Motors is up about 0.5%. Idea is down 2%. Wipro is now, I think, at the day's low, 480. Adani Ports is 284. Adani Ports also declares numbers tomorrow. Hindalco is at about 152 odd levels. Mindtree is down 4%, so that's one of the big movers in the mid-cap space. We told you that the overall space has seen a decline of about close to about 10% in terms of EPS downgrade. Equitas, there was a slight bit of increase in the gross NPA, but I think it was expected. 178, 179 for Equitas. Kane is absolutely flat. The numbers were good. There was a 10% beat on the EBITDA front, 232. Oberoi Realty about 3 to 4 rupees higher, but just look at the volumes. It's just about 11,000, so probably just wait for that pickup. RPG Life 511, absolutely flat for RPG Life. SKF India, that's again a results impact, but no major move, no major volumes also. 694 for SKF India right in the morning. Tata Sponge is up 2.8, 667. Profits increased YOY. Sales were lower, but sales lower was expected. Akzo Nobel 1701, 6 to 7 rupees higher, but just look at the volumes. It's about 812. V-Guard is up about 6%. So V-Guard has done pretty well in this quarter. It's up close to about 6.5% this morning. 196. Good set of numbers, good set of profitability and margins for the company. I think gross margins, if I'm not wrong, is at an all-time high. It's almost similar to the previous level, but previous quarter was an all-time high, but it's slightly on the higher side. We will be talking to a lot of these management names like V-Guard, which are buzzing right now, will be joining us this morning. Some of the other names, so V-Guard, of course, is coming in the top list in terms of volumes. Gujarat Narmada Valley and Fertilizers is up 6%. 256. I think this was also a company that has declared numbers. It's up close to about 6%. 3i Infotech, Tata Tele Maharashtra, GVK Power, these are all companies which are less than 10 rupees, but volumes on these names are particularly high, or one can say the trading interest into these names are very, very high, and that's why probably you're seeing an up move as well. Also, these names are looking in decent at this morning. Harihar, let me come to you first. Equitas declared numbers. It's down 2%. There was a slight bit of uptick in the gross NPA. Does that surprise you?
No, not exactly, because I think I was looking at the profit numbers and the profit growth. I think has been quite impressive. I think gross NPAs, we've got to understand that we are living in fairly difficult times, and the small scale sector is going through a lot of stress. So I think the increase in NPAs has been very marginal. I don't think it is something that should start ringing the alarm bells. So I would not read too much into that. I would still believe that if you purely look at it in terms of profit, the stock does offer a very good business model at this point of time. I really wouldn't read too much into the marginal rise in NPS.
Right. SV, would you look into buying Equitas if there is a correction?
Frankly, I don't track this stock too much, Pankaj, so it's not fair on me to make a comment as such as far as this stock is concerned. Only one quick other comment I wanted to make, a good point that Harrier made in the context of Mindtree. Perhaps it was a combination of Bakshi and Siddharth, a combination which gave Mindtree the kind of rich valuations it had. And one of them has not been with the company for some time in form of Mr. Bakshi, and Siddharth is there. So, that could be the reason. I mean, it is just my guess,
Right. As you don't track Equitas, just any view on Axis Bank? They declare numbers tomorrow. Will it be one of the worst quarters, and then you should probably start to see an uptick?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, hopefully if more kind of Rosneft SR kind of deal happens, it should help both ICICI and Axis, which relatively have a larger corporate book portfolio, lot more corporate book portfolio versus, let's say, somebody like an HDFC Bank or even a Kotak for that matter. So yes, I mean, what you say, I would tend to agree with you. With results is something we need to look at, and more than results, one would also look at what is the management commentary as such. Just as you mentioned in the context of the telecom majors, I would also be closely looking at what is the management commentary as far as Axis Bank is concerned.
Right. Ruchit, first, can you give me levels for Mindtree? It's down 4%. Volumes are very, very high on the name.
See, Mindtree has been forming this low top, low bottom since last, I think, 4 to 5 months now. And I think if we observe a bit longer term charts, then the stock still looks weak. We are not finding any kind of major support around current levels. 405 to 410 is the range, I think, where the long term supports are placed if we observe the monthly charts. So definitely, which is about around another 10 to 12% odd on the downside. So I think the stock could correct further around 10 to 12% on the low side. Yes, if it comes around 400, 410, those I think could be good levels again to buy in for short term trading bounce. But as of now, I would in fact advise to avoid the stock. I think the stock could see another 10% downside from current levels also.
Right. Harrier, what do you do with a company like V-Guard? Does it deserve a valuation of a Havells, or it's a slightly differentiated model and that's why you would just give it that 15-20% discount?
See, honestly, V-Guard is not a company I would really understand as well as Havells. Havells is a company I think we've observed for the last 10-15 years. We have seen it perform, we have seen its products, we have seen the stock give phenomenal returns in the market. It's, in my view, a tried and tested. So, honestly, given a choice between the two, I would still plump for Havells, which happens to be an old favorite. V-Guard, I would honestly believe it should get a slightly lower valuation. So, I don't think there is too much of a surprise in that.
So basically, with this results coming in, 6% sort of a move, you would just not be tempted to buy this name?
No, not at all, not at all.
Right. Any view on LIC Housing? It's up 1%. We're getting a couple of brokerage upgrades coming in. Results came in on Thursday. We spoke to the management. It is broadly in line.
Yes, I think within the housing finance space, we have had two major picks. One is LIC Housing and the other is Dewan Housing. And, we do believe that LIC has managed to maintain its NPS very much under check. It has managed to maintain a very sharp growth over the last many quarters, and it is likely to continue with all this growth. So I think we continue to like LIC. We have an internal target of about 700 on the stock.
Internal target of about 700, so which means about 100 rupee sort of upside. Imtiaz, any view on LIC Housing? Most housing finance companies have done well, not this one. Is it just consolidating before a up move?
Yes, Pankaj, you're absolutely right. The stock is consolidating at this current level, and I would like to give a disclosure that we had given a LIC Housing buy call to our set of clients. And with a stop loss of 559 and expecting a target of around 725 to 750, but in the shorter term, maybe the horizon would be somewhere around 1 month time frame. Basically, the stock was under the retracement level. The retracement has been completed right now. At the level of 620, the stock has given a breakout. But after hitting 620, the stock went to 625, and from there again there was some mild correction of the leg A. And right now, this is the leg B which is going around, and I think the wave 3 and leg 3 will definitely show the higher upside, and which would be fizzle out somewhere around 720, 750 level. So we are very much positive for the LIC with a stop loss of 559.
Right. Can I also get your view on Wipro? It's now down 3%.
Pankaj, that's the way we are looking for LIC. Similarly, we are looking for Wipro somewhere around 1810 2016. There was a breakout in the Wipro at 485 level, and the stock has come back to the same level. And what we are expecting that if at all the stocks doesn't give a breakdown below 460, then this price correction would be taken as an opportunity for the buying on decline strategy rather than taking an exit. So I think so this is a very good level where the risk reward ratio become favorable for the Wipro. Keep a stop loss of 460, go long on the 482 price, and expecting around 540, 550 level in next 2 to 3 you can say 2 to 3 week of time frame.
Right, Imtiaz, T.S. Harihar as well as Ruchit, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Just before we go, can we just get your disclosure? Let's start with you, Harihar.
I think of the three stocks that we have discussed today, Ashok Leyland and TCS is something we have recommended to our customers. I don't hold any of these three stocks.
Right, Ruchit, your disclosures?
I don't have a personal holding in any of the stocks discussed, but we have recommended some of them to our clients, so they may have any holdings.
Right, Imtiaz, any disclosures for you?
Pankaj, we don't, personally, I'm not holding any of the positions on the stocks which we had recommended, but few stocks, as I said, Wipro, LIC, and Ashok Leyland, TCS, we had given a buy recommendation from our side to our client.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.